Hey guys, Stay Patient here with the 12th and final deal of Christmas. Today we're getting Final Fantasy 15 for £32.99. Now this is actually the exact same price I pre-ordered the game for back in June or July, whenever E3 was. And so to me this doesn't seem like a great price because I literally bought the game months before it came out for the same price. But if you compare it to, the retail prices at the moment, it's not too bad. It's the cheapest I could find it for. If we go to, thought I was already on the page. Sorry about that, guys. I've been spending more money as usual. Day one edition is $34.99 on Amazon and exactly the same price on game.co.uk, which might be more convenient for some of you, being able to pop into a shop when you're, if you work in town or something and you've got a game branch nearby. But yeah. It's slightly cheaper than you can get it on disc for, but again, a lot of you do prefer to buy games retail because then you can sell the game on. And this is probably the kind of title that you're only going to want to keep until you're finished with it. I can't see many people wanting to play through it multiple times. And of course, there's no online features or anything that make it worth having two copies by, buying it digital and being able to download it on two consoles. That doesn't really benefit you in any way, unless you want to kind of lend the game to a friend to try out or something. But for the most part, I would say that although it's a couple quid cheaper, you guys probably will want to go with retail copies, and I would predict that the price will come down over the January sales. Obviously, we've got the January sales active on the PlayStation Store right now, and I've just put up a video today talking about that and taking a look at the Easy Platinums and like any of the prices that I think are, particularly good or at least worth taking a look at. But when it comes to the retail January sales, they'll be, I guess, starting over the next few days. And you should probably be able to pick this up for less than $32.99 at some point soon. The game itself is a lot of fun. I've played not a huge amount of it. I haven't had much time for it, but probably around 10 hours, I'd say. And I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. It's got a lot of positive feedback from the gaming community in general. And when it comes to trophies, I think it's given a 2 or 3 out of 10 in difficulty on the voting thread on PlayStationTrophies.org. So it is a very easy platinum. There's nothing that's really going to get in your way of earning all the trophies. There is one boss that's said to take a while. I think it takes maybe a couple of hours or so. But I think it's a kind of game, you can just over level, keep leveling yourself up. Getting better gear and just go in, and although it will take you a little bit of time, I don't think there's any real difficulty to it. And with the time requirement, it is shorter than the average Final Fantasy, but of course Final Fantasy games are generally pretty damn long, so this it's still going to probably take you over 50 hours. I think the average voting, the average vote on PlayStationTrophies.org for time requirement was between 50 and 75 hours. It can probably be done, considerably quicker than that. I think a lot of people have earned it in much less time because they know exactly what they're aiming for and they just have blinkers on and they go straight for the trophies. But it's the kind of game that you probably won't want to do that. You'll be kind of exploring and doing all the little side bits of content and stuff, not necessarily 100%ing it, but I don't think everyone's going to be steamrolling their way through all the trophies, ignoring everything else in the game. And there is a lot of trophies that require you leveling up certain skills that your different characters have, and they're skills that do level up if you play in a more kind of thorough fashion. So if you're exploring the world and doing a lot of the side content, then everything you do is going to be working towards leveling up those skills anyway, and it's going to stop you from having to farm them at the end of the game. It's things like fishing, survival, which is something that levels up when you camp, I believe, and photography, which is another thing. Every time you camp, it kind of collates all the photos that your AI character has automatically taken. So all these different things are things that make it worth just playing the game freely and not focusing too much on the trophies, just kind of taking it in and working on all these little kind of accumulative trophies along the way just naturally by playing the game a bit more thoroughly. So there you go, guys. It is definitely worth checking out. Fairly easy and not too long-winded platinum. Like I say, Final Fantasy games are really long. Some of them can be, well over 100 hours for the platinum. So when we say this is a quick platinum for a Final Fantasy game, it's still a long one. You know, if you compare it to the average game nowadays, it's still over 50 hours, which is a long time spent on a game. But if you're going to play a Final Fantasy game, this is one that's been geared towards not only veterans and like fans of the series, but also new players. In fact, it's a tagline that they put at the start of the game when you first load it up. It says something like a Final Fantasy for fans and new players alike, or something like that. So, you know, if you want to get into the Final Fantasy series, you've never played it before, then this is one that's very much manageable for anyone, you know, when it comes to time requirement and also skill level or kind of knowledge. It's something that anyone can pick up. It's not overly complex. You don't need to know all the lore or, you know, what all the different spells and everything mean. It kind of eases you in and it's quite easy to pick up. So I definitely recommend this if you're new to Final Fantasy and you just fancy giving this series a go. It's quite different to old games. You know, there are some major differences when it comes to combat especially. But, you know, in general, the kind of whole feel of the game, you can tell it's a Final Fantasy game. It's very different in many ways, but you can still tell it's part of the franchise. So it's definitely worth checking out whether you're a fan or you've never played a Final Fantasy in your life. All right, there we go, guys. That's all the 12 deals of Christmas. None of them have been especially good. The January sale that I put a video up for earlier isn't too bad. The AAA prices on there aren't great, but there are a lot of easy platinums. A lot of the kind of indie titles have been knocked down to like half price. Some DLC for games that have easy trophies. So there's definitely a lot worth taking a look through. And if you want to kind of see a summary of everything that's available and see some recommendations for games that I, you know, personally would go for. Yeah, most of them are ones I own already, but just check out my video if you're interested in all that. That was uploaded earlier today. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. I'm going to see you on Sunday for the weekly update. Have a good one, and I'll catch you soon.